Alright, hello everyone, my name is Animish Sharma and today we are going to make an TODO application from Golang and React. Now this is the part 1 in which we are only going to cover backend, that means Golang part. So let's start. First of all, let's talk about the requirements of this video. Well, you must know at least basics of Golang, JavaScript of course, even if it's illogical. Let's begin. And before we start this video, please configure Golang and VS Code because we are going to use Golang and VS Code in this video and also configure Node. Okay, let's begin. So first of all, let's create an folder. All right, all right. After you've done that, let's make a directory here. So mkdir go to do, and let's go in the go to do. Let's open this in VS Code. Okay, so once you have opened it, I don't know where this is from. Yeah, let's create our first main.go, and this is the only file we are going to run. For this video, we are going to use Go Fiber. So if you go into Google, oh, Brave, yeah, it's, I don't know why my Brave is unresponsive. I guess there's a problem. Alright, once you're in Google, type in here Go Fiber and go to this website. Now, before we start, don't go to this website, go to this website, github.com go fiber/fiber, and you will see installation here. Now paste it here, and this will not work. Let me tell you why. Because this is not v2. I don't know why they haven't up- updated this, but this is go fiber/go fiber. That's all, right? And remove the v2. I already have this, and we are going to need GOM. GOM is an ORM library. I hope you already know what is an ORM. So do the same with this. I just copy this from here. I already have these two. I'm not going to do this again. So let's just close this and make our main.go file. Now in Go Fiber, right? Now in Go Fiber, copy this code here. Now this is a very simple server code. I mean, this will be our backend starting. So that's not v2 again, that's only fiber. Save it, and yeah, it's gonna take some time. Yeah. So if I run this server now, all right. And if I go to this URL right here, this will send a string of hello world here. Now this C is fiber.ctx here. We will talk about this when we are making our controllers. But for now, let's just delete this. And now let's create some folders here like database. um, controllers, and routes. What else do we need? Models, of course, models. So first of all, we need to connect this server with our database. So let's create a file here with connect.go, and this will be package database. If you don't know the deal with packages, please learn the basics of Go. Yeah. Now go to GOM and search for MySQL here. Now GOM can be used to connect various databases like MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQLite, etc. etc. So for MySQL, you have to import these two here. Right. Just copy this import statement. Yeah. Once you've done that, let's create a variable here. This variable db here is the pointer of gom.db, and I'm going to explain you in a second why we need this. So let's create a function connect, and this will take connection and error, and gom.open, mysql.open, and now let's say what this is. This is the way how we connect our database in GOM, gom.open.mysql.open, and in this you are going to need your MySQL database. Now MySQL database is here. Uh, I already have a table. Let's just drop this and create a new one. So yeah, now this is MySQL database, and this is Postgres. If you're going to do this with Postgres, you can follow this here. Well, basically it's almost the same. Just you have to use user equals to password equals to. It's more complicated actually. So in MySQL.open, now you have to first of all write your username of your database, like mine is root, then your password, mine is password, and then @ your database name, like TODO, comma, and gorm.config. Now if you know Golang, if I declare a variable here like I int32 equals to 12 like this, I cannot call this I here. That means it's only block scoped. But if we declare a variable outside of this function with a first letter capital, now this can be accessed whenever we import this file in any of it. Let me just show you. So first of all, we have to make sure that this doesn't pass us any error. So if error is not equals to nil, and if I go to this here, this is basically returning a db.db like this, com.db, and an error. Now if everything done correctly, uh, and this starts from here to all the way down here. Yeah, if everything done correctly, the error should return nil. But if anything is wrong, this will return the error. Something, it can be a string, it can be anything. So we are going to say panic, database not connected. Database cannot be connected. Now panic usually stops your server and will tell you the database cannot be connected, or we are just going to pass in the error. We will pass the error, and now db equals to connection. Now this connection contains all the information of the database that has been connected. Now, we have declared this DB variable outside of our function. That means it's now a global variable and can be called whenever we import this connect.go file in other files. So let me just show you how to do that. So in main.go, let's import this connect.go file. So github.com/animish. Now you have to import files like this: github.com/go to do/database. Once you've done that, now in Golang, whenever you have imported a file, you have to use it or else it will be automatically removed. So here I will say database dot connect, and now we are calling this function. So whenever this function is going to run, we will run this connection whenever we are going to run our server. So the first thing it will do is to connect to our database and fill our database with this DB variable. So we can also call database dot db dot. Now this has all the functionality our connection variable had, and database dot db is a global variable. We cannot call our connection variable here. All right, I guess it's clear to you. If it's not, I'm so sorry. Okay, now let's move on to models. So models.go, yes, sorry. So models.go, this will be package models. All right. So our models should be struct. Now, if you don't know about struct, Golang is a functional programming language. It's not an object-oriented programming language. So we have structs instead of class. Now, struct is very similar to classes, but it's not. Well, if you know Golang, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I will suggest you learn Golang. So type to do struct, and name would be string. And I'm sorry if I said anything wrong. I mean, my English is pretty bad, I know that. And if I said anything wrong, I'm so sorry. Some topics aren't clear to me too. So, so instead of name, I will say title, because every tutor has a title. Now, what does this JSON means? This means what is the JSON representation of this title. So JSON usually looks like something this. We all know that. So instead of saying a name, sorry, a title, sorry. Instead of saying a title with a T capital, JSON, like buy some milk, we usually tend to write this as T in small letters, title, buy some milk, and then description, string, JSON, description. Right. Now, one last field I would like to have is completed. This would be a bool, JSON completed. Now, if you go into your GOM documentation, you will see there is a uh, page for declaring models. Now go down and you will see field tags: primary key, unique, default, precise, not null. Now, to well, to declare some of these, we have to say like not null. Let's say we want to say not null. So we will say GOM, like I want my title to be not null. GOM uh, and not null, GOM not null, right? And this will be GOM the default is false. So we don't want our to do first to be completed. Of course, like we created our to do and it's already completed. That's weird. Of course, right? So we have our models. Let's migrate our models into a database. Now, if you don't understand models, are basically like a framework, I should say. Now, have you seen the Excel tables of your results where you have a name, roll number, and marks in maths? I don't know. So that name, roll number, marks in maths is like model. It's a model of your result. All right. So they have fields like your name, whatever your name is, like Jason. So Jason roll number 23 and marks in maths is 12, 13, I don't know, something like that. So they are fields of the models. The fields of the models like name, roll number, like that. So model, that is the pretty much of model. The to do is a model and we will have instances of it. I'll show you in a second what I mean. Okay, so now we want to migrate our model to our database. So we will say you have to import models first actually. GitHub.com models. Yeah. Once we done that, go down here and say db.auto migrate this one. And now I'm going to use it as m. Now what does this m means? M dot to do actually. Yeah. Now what does this m means? Now if you have ever used Python, you know we import like tkinter import tkinter as tk, right? Then we use it as tk forever because we have imported as tk. JavaScript, I don't remember that can happen or not. In Golang we use as this, we don't say as m, we just write the name. Like if I say model here, it's going to be model, but m is okay, it's fine with me. Yeah, so if I now run this server, it can take some time to compile for you, depends on your computer specifications. And to do, you will see how the table to do, it has a title, description, right, completed. And if I go up here a little bit, we will have title, long text, I'm sorry, not null, completed, boolean, default, false. It worked. All right, let's create our controllers. So I'll name it to do controller dot go, and package controllers, and we have to import our database. All right, our models, and what else we do need to import? Yeah, fiber. So let's import them one by one. So we can get models from here, of course. I'm being lazy. I don't want to import all of these things. Uh, this actually both will work. Yeah. Now, like this, we have imported all of them. Now, let's create our first function down here. That will be to-do list, something like that. And this would be C. Now, what does this C means? This is fiber.cpx, and I will tell you what this means. This basically means all the things we can do with fiber. And in Golang, whenever we write something like this means we are expecting to return an error. An error can be nil, of course. Like, oh God, yes, I told you Golang, right? Now we want our to-do list. So if you don't know anything about Golang, we could expect a return statement. We write this like we are expecting a string. We will write this, and string cannot be an else, of course. An error. So yeah, all right. So let's declare a variable here. To do's. This will be a list of m dot to do. I guess this. No, no, right, it was right. Yeah. Now database.db dot model and m dot to do dot find and to do's. Now this seems a lot complicated, but let me tell you, it's pretty easy to understand. Now this is just a model. It's just a list of these models. I mean, let me show you. And if I don't explain this correctly, forgive me, please. All right. So we all know that JSON can be in list with these parentheses. I don't know what they're called in English. I forgot. And we can literally use them like this. Now we have imported a list of m.todo. That means we can store name, sorry, title, anything, completed, false, something like that. False. That means this is a list of the model. This contains a lot of list of the models. So it's basically like a container that can store a lot of m.todo, infinite. So this is a list of m.todo. It works like a container, and this basically means db.model. Now this model means we are searching for this specific to-dos model, right? Yes, if I just go here and type to do here, it will work too, because they are basically the same model. Now why doesn't I do this like this? Because whenever we are in Golang, uh, we specify our variables, like let's say I want to create an int32 variable. I will name this int32. Now this is the type of variable, and this is the type of this variable. This is a list of m.todo, right? So why I did this dot model? Because sometimes you have a lot of tables, like I have in this. I'm creating a blog with the Golang, and we have posts, reviews, and users. So I have to specify which I'm from which table I want data. Like I cannot do database.db.find something. This will be confused in these three tables, but you can also do only this, and it will be fine because it has only one table. But I'll recommend you to do this. And if you don't want to do this, well, you can do table to dos. All right, and this is the table. Yeah, this is the table to dos. This will be fine too, and dot model will be, but I prefer dot model. So, and m dot to do, right? And after it finds everything in m dot to do, it will uh, fill in this to do variable. This is what it's going to do. And then c.json. Now c.json has a type of error, that's why it can be filled. And fiber.map, and fiber.map is basically an interface. So if I say to do and to do's, and yeah, so all right. So fiber c.json is basically a type of error. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you can say see, it's a type of error. This is using fast HTTP. If you don't know, uh, yeah, ignore these because these are not from my code. All right, fiber.map is an interface. You have already know about interface. It's a type of map which can have a string with this and an interface. All right, so we have a to-do list. Let's just go here. Now this will not work because we haven't associated with any of the routes. So let's create a first route, and we are going to name it to do route dot go. Yeah, actually not to do routes dot go will be fine. Okay, package routes, and we are going to have uh, yeah, we are going to have fiber here and our input fiber here and our controllers, of course. So ctrl, I'm going to name them these, and github.com Animish Sharma slash controllers, sorry, go to do, go to do slash controllers. All right, I guess it's done. Yeah. Now let's create a function setup, and this will take an app, which will be a fiber dot app. We are not expecting anything, so app dot get slash comma ctrl dot to do list, and we are done. Yeah, that's all. Now we have to import this in main.go. So when we run, so let's import this first of all. github.com, I'm sorry for typing mistake. The name is Sharma slash go to do slash routes. Yep. Once we've done that, go to routes.setup dot setup and app. This app is fiber.new, so it will work. Let's run our server now, and let's go to this website. Sorry, let's go to this website, and it's a to do, and it's an empty array because we don't have any to do right now. All right, so we have created our first uh, well, you can say controller controller function actually. Now let's create to do detail. This will take c.fiber.ctx and an error, and this will be a var to do m.to do. Now why I am not specifying its type list, because we don't want a list, it's a detail, we want detail of a to do, of course. So database.db dot find. Now this is when things get different. Now we want to find the specific to do, but how can we do that? Right, let's let's think for a second. We want a specific to do, but how can we specify this? Well, first of all, we can specify this by name, like dot find name, where name equals to this, or we can do this by description, or we can do this by completed, right? But one thing that we haven't done yet is to declare a primary key in our models. Now if you know, uh, how should I say, the SQL, yeah, I forgot the name. If you know SQL, you already know what primary key is, and we have quite ignored it. Alright, so GOM primary key. Alright, so now we have a primary key, and this ID will be unique for everyone. So if I run this now, guess we have an error, I guess. Incorrect table definition. There can be only one as an alter table. Alright, I guess it's worked. Let's just Huh. E- I guess I have to do this again. Let's just drop this table to do, and we have a here, and yeah, it worked. All right. If I go into table, why can't I see the? It's here, but it's not showing up here. What happened? Unsigned integer. This must be a problem. All right. Yeah. Now it's came. All right. I'm sorry for that. Now this primary key will be different for everyone. Now name can be similar. Completed is a boolean, so it will be true and false. Nothing else than that. And description, well, we cannot do that. So we are going to find this on the basis of ID. Now where this ID is coming from, this will be coming from our parameters in URL. Now if you have ever seen a URL, you will know that like google.com slash search equals to this. Now this is a parameter. Search equals to anything. Now this is a parameter. What we are trying to do is like here I have seen that. Hmm, I don't remember correctly, but I will tell you. So for us, this will be localhost 3000 slash to do slash and the ID of the to do, and we want this ID so that we can do on this thing. So let's begin this with. All right, so let's begin. So to do that, we are actually going to our routes, and in here we will say app.get and slash to do slash id and ctrl.todo detail. Now this id we can grab by a method that will be id. So let's assign variable for this. Yeah, assign a variable for this. So c.params id, and this will search for all the parameters in the URL and will extract the id for us. So after we did that, sorry, after we had done that, so we will say database.db dot where what model. First of all, we have to use model and m.todo dot where uh, id equals to question mark comma id. Now what is this? You must be wondering, what is this? I mean, why? So GOM, we can use this question mark to fill out the rest of us. We can also use something like percentage s, then we can do this, right? If you have ever used Python, you know what percentage s is, but I usually use question mark. So question mark id, because okay, so it will automatically fill out this id, which is an string right now, but we want an unsigned integer actually. Yeah, but let's just uh, let's just skip this for a second, and first and to do, right? Dot first and to do. So where id is this dot first and to do, and if dot to do dot id is equals to 0, right? So if to do dot id is equals to 0, c dot json fiber dot map, and I will say error, to do cannot be found. That's all. And if it's not, we are going to return c.json, and this will be to do. All right, we have our to do detail, to do list. So let's run our server again. Missing return function. All right, we haven't saved this. Let's go. Let's go to this URL right here, and if I just go to slash to do slash one, it says id 0. Uh, if to do dot id 0. All right, so we have to do this. I mean, let's just skip this. We will fix it later. So for now, let's create a to do create, because we first want to create. I first want to create our whole system, then deal with our bugs. So to do dot create, to do create. This will also take fiber.ctx, pointer of fiber.ctx actually, and expect an error in return nil. I'm sorry. Yeah. So what are we looking at? So usually create. Yeah. So usually create requests are of post, and we cannot have parameters in post request, but we can have data in post requests, and we can get this data by first of all uh, assigning a data, sorry, body parser. So like var data map string. So we have a map of string. If you don't know what map is basically these. Yeah, sorry. Uh, all right, sorry for that. So maps are basically a leaf, but it's more like a dictionary in Python. I'll show you in a second. So if error, now this is a complicated statement, so I will say look closely. If error c dot body parser and data error is not equals to nil, then return, sorry, panic, not panic, I will say return c.json fiber.map error. Error will be body parser cannot be assigned. So what the, sorry, now what does this statement mean? So if error is generated during assignment of body parser to the variable data, and if error is not nil, it will return this statement right here. Alright, I hope you understood. So we can now see not data, to do equals to m dot to do, where name would be data name. Alright, I don't think it's done like this. Alright, I'm sorry. So yeah, I was doing right. It is like this to do, and the title actually I typed the is wrong. So title will be title, and description will be data description. ID will be filled automatically, and completed is false, of course. So once we've done that, say database, right? Sorry, not C. Database.db.model or table, whatever you like. M.todo dot create and to do. Once we done that, we are going to say c.json and to do created successfully. Yeah, so let's run our server again. Now this time I want to open Postman first actually, so that we can test our server. It's gonna take some time. No, it's open already. Before we do that, let's go to route app.post and slash to do slash create, and this will be ctrl.todo create. Let's run it again and dismiss update. This will be slash to do slash create. Now this is from my old, not I will not say old, but from another project. Uh, this one is from Spotify API. Yeah, I was mixing two projects together. So let's see. We can say title is buy some milk and description. Well, description is don't buy. Let's send this request and to do created successfully. Now let's go here and say slash slash, just a slash. Sorry, method not allowed. Yeah. Now we have to do right here. So ID1 title this. All right. So let's say we want to right right. Let's say we want to update this to do right here. So this will be func to do update. Same as first, it will take fiber.ctx. Expects an error, returns nothing for now. Alright, and this will also have a data parser like this, and I'm just gonna copy above line. So for now, if we want the data from the data parser, we can have like this, but we will update a specific to do on base of its ID, and we want that ID to be a uint, of course. So we are going to use something called strconv, string conversion to be exact. So string conversion can convert strings into integer and integer into string. So id is equal to strconv.etoe. It also expects an error actually, but I'm not going to assign it. Whenever you don't want to assign an error, you just use underscore. It will know you don't want to assign an error and have id here. Actually, data id, right? So this will convert data id string into an integer. So we will say var to do is and sorry m dot to do, right? So database.db dot finds first, then we have to find the database, then we will update it. So what we are going to, so what is it we are doing here? First of all, we have a body parser. We created a body parser, assigned it body parser, of course, then created our, then converted our string id into an integer. Then we are going to find the specific to do that we want to update, then we'll update it, and then we will save it. That's all. Dot model and m dot to do dot where id equals to id dot first uh, dot first and to do. Actually, we haven't tried our uh, detail function. Yeah, slash to do slash one. Yeah, it's working quite fine. Now, why does it working quite fine? Let me just tell you. So in params, it's usually taking a string. It's a string, but in database we can well use it. I hope you can understand. It's sometimes hard to understand. Yeah. So ID to do. Yeah. So now to do dot title like this. So we can do this like this. To do dot title must be data dot title, or we can do this a fancy way. If data dot title, the length of data dot title, we have to also import strings here. All of this you can find on pkg.go.dev. This was the website. I'm not quite. Yeah. So strings. If I search strings, we will have strings. This is, you can see examples of these. And if I want to say length, we can just gh, yeah, split after write string reader. Oh, okay. All right, I was wrong. We don't need strings actually. We can just use len, len, which is an inbuilt function. If is equals to 0, if not equals to 0 actually, equals to 0, data title not like this, title something like this. Yeah, and we will say uh, actually we need strings because we need to strip all the space. Now let me tell you what I'm talking about. So s dot strip space s dot split after trim space. Yeah, length of data title, length of not equals to 0. Now what is this statement? All right, so strings are built-in module that you can use. Now trim space, let's say when you are updating, some uh, some person decided he can trick you by using space like this, and your to do is updated into space. You don't want that, of course. So the length of stripped title without space, if it's not equals to 0, then to do dot title equals to uh, data title, of course, title. Yeah, but I'm not going to do this with description. To do dot description equals to data description. Yeah, now completed will not be changed in this, so you can say database.db dot model and m.todo dot save and to do. Yeah, so what are we doing in this function? So in this if you know the body parser, then we are checking if the length of strip title, stripped of all the spaces in it, is not equals to 0. If it's not equals to 0, then we are going to say what title is equal to data.title, and to do the description equals to data description. All right, so c.json to do updated successfully. Yeah, let's go to route, and this will be a put request. I have dot put and to do and update from a ctrl to do um, to do update. Yeah, and also have to run post run. Okay, post run is already up. All right, so this will be to do slash update, and this will be id 1 buy some milk from Kirka. See, all right, what's the problem here? What happened? All right, so the problem was not in function, it was that I used get, and this is indicating well, this function right here, to do id. We have to use put and to do get it successfully. Let's just run this. Okay, this is a problem. All right, by Favika. All right, let's send. Okay, slash to do slash. Okay, this might be a problem. Let's see what's the problem here. Dot create model dot update. I think should be saved. All right, so I guess there was no problem. The problem was in the if statement. I removed it and just make it simple, as this tutorial is for only beginners and they don't want this high level kind of thing for themselves. Well, if you want to include this, tell me in the comments and I will add this in next video. So the function itself was quite fine. So like buy some milk, and I just remove these two things right here, right? So I remove these two and go back to Brave, and right, it's updating automatically. So let's create a second last function that will be to do completed. This will also take a post request, and I will expect an error from this, and body parser or to do, and basically this whole lines will be same because we need a body parser. Then we have to find the to do. Now because to do completed will be same as to do update, we want the specific to do we want to update. So we will say this will be almost like to do updated, and to do complete equals to true. That's all. It will be as that simple. Return c.json to do. That's all. Yeah. If I just oh no, sorry, but this will be a post request app dot post. This will be slash to do slash completed ctrl dot to do completed, and let's run a server again, and we are only going to have this time id post and get a response. All right. Valid character in the beginning of 67. Right. Okay, so the problem might be from the comma here, and we haven't saved that. I can literally say it. The database.db, the same will be here. So we are just updating to do completed into true, and that's all we are doing for this. And then this must work now. Yeah, let's just go here to this, and we can see completed is now true. So last function that we are going to do is to do delete. So let's say we want to see what we have completed our to do, and we cannot well uncomplete them, but we can delete our to do too. Just completely on the mark. Function to do delete. Now delete request does not have the data like, cannot have a body parser like put or post. So we are going to have parameters. So id is equals to c dot params id. All right, and we will have to do m dot to do. So database.db.model.db.model and m dot to do. I'm bored writing this statement. Dot where id equals to id dot find first and to do. So we'll say to do dot delete and to do return, and we will say c dot json. This must work actually. Json deleted to do successfully. In routes we are going to have app.delete slash to do slash delete slash id ctrl to do delete. Slash 1, and this will be a delete request, so there will be none body. Okay. All right, just put it above here. To do delete id deleted to do successfully. Let's just go into this, and we must see an empty array like this. Now last function, and a lot of functions we have done. Last function is to see all the to do that are completed. All right, so this will be a similar one to do list. So to do completed list, I will say cfiber.ctx not ctx, and there must be an error we are expecting, and var to do a list of m.todo database.db table todos dot where completed equals to comma true dot find and to do actually to dot to do's actually to do's and c dot json and to do's. That's all. Return actually. Uh, yeah. Let's just go here and say app dot post. Sorry, get completed slash completed and ctrl dot to do completed list. Now, one thing we must update is that this line dot where we also have to include now where because we have separate complete list and incomplete list where completed is not equals to false. So let's quickly create an application. Sorry, a to do slash create post raw and we will have a title and this will be hello world description. This is going to be no man's land. I like this one. No man's land. It's created. Let's just refresh this. It's created and slash complete, right? So post slash complete, completed or complete. I forgot. Slash completed id2 id2 and true. And if we just this now we don't see anything and completed. That's all. So that's it. That's our backend. I will explain this quickly now. So in to-do list, we are having a list of to-dos that are not completed, that where completed is basically false. In to-do detail, we are actually grabbing the ID that we will send from our front end, and then we'll send back the data of that specific to-do. To-do create, we will having a body parser, and this is a body parser. Yes, this is a body parser. So we are having a body parser and then adding that body passes data in a to-do variable which is a type of m.to like this, right? We can also do that like this, but I prefer to do this like this. I mean like this, not like this. We can also do this like this, like var something like x m.to do. So x dot title will be data something, and after that we can just do dot create. Then we are creating this specific variable in a database. In update we are we are having a body parser in which we will have the specific ID of the to do that we want to update, and in after grabbing that specific to do that we want to update, we are updating its title, description, and then saving it. In to do completed, it's very similar to do update. We are just updating its completed with specific ID of to do that to we want to update it as completed equals to true. Now in second last to do delete, we are just grabbing the ID from parameters. Now these are the parameters. Everything after that will be a parameter like slash to do slash, if I say Animish Sharma, that will also be a parameter. So in delete we can see, yeah, slash to do slash delete, and this is a parameter right here, and its name is id, so we have to grab id from here too. So we cannot write string here, it will not catch the parameter. We have to write id because we have written id here. All right, if I write string here, we have to use string here. So in to do completed list, it is almost similar to do list right here, just where completed equals to true, we are returning the completed list of this, and that's all. That's completed. Our backend is 100% completed, and in a few days I will upload the video of front end too. So this was our backend. Thank you for watching. That's it. Uh, if you have any questions, please leave us a comment on how I'm doing. If you have any question, leave a comment too. Thank you, thank you very much for watching. My name is Animish Sharma and I'm signing out.